Hey you, we're back at it. For this challenge, we're going to be asking the question, can you beat Sons of the Forest without using any weapons? For this one, the rules are simple. No weapons allowed except when destroying planks and the gobstoppers. This means we need traps to deal with every major threat that we can't simply run and hide from. It also means no logs, no axe, so virtually no building. Our opening moves were fairly textbook. Get the knife 5 and a glider. Then, we want to set up shop. Strategically, or perhaps stupidly, we've built this near the end boss area, so it's easier for us to fill it with traps along the way. Of course, we are also being very cheesy and building beyond the shoreline so that the things lurking in the forest will mostly leave us alone. What we'll also need to worry about is food and water. Water is easy enough from the nearby stream, and we found a few turtle shells to collect rainwater. Food, on the other hand, unable to use weapons, we could not hunt animals nor cannibals. And without an axe to wield, sticks are at an all-time premium. We put the effort in to build a fish trap, but that wouldn't do us any good during the winter. And as the saying goes, hunger is the mother of inventions. So we reinvented an invention. Behold, the bird feeder. It is beautiful. With food and water secured, the next concern was transport. It is nigh impossible to fly from the beach, so we harnessed the horsepower of turtle. If you hit the spring trap while holding the glider, you will get enough height to glide. If you're holding the glider while driving the Knight 5 and you hit the spring trap, you will get much more height. If you practice with the glider, you can fly forever, until you starve or die of thirst. What we needed now was to answer the call of the challenge, but first we need better traps.
Five 5, descend to altitude 4,000 feet, descend further when established with the glide path.
Before taking on the caves, we wanted to get organised. Base, check. Food, check. Water, check. Blueprints, working on it. I already knew we could run most of the caves, so the only time we would need to stop is when there's a choke point or if we ever needed to double back. Okay, that's the rebreather down. One step closer to— hey, a stick! One step closer to proving we can beat Sons of the Forest without weapons. With new gear, a base set up, and better traps available, we're ready to continue the challenge.
New flavors.
With the basics sorted, it was time to progress into more caves and start facing into the real challenges of battles that were either unavoidable or at least very unpleasant. Our Night 5 and Glide transport system is still holding strong and will be a staple of every new playthrough going forward. Next up, Travel Cannon Cave and our first real fight. This part of the cave I almost always clear with traps. Needing to stop for the gobstopper at the end means that the heroes in the cave have a real chance to take a piece of me before I get through, so it's just safer that way. Although I've run this cave many times before, I've never done it while being so strapped for resources or options for in-game murder, and I'm usually too lazy to go back out for more sticks. Not being able to use my axe to get sticks makes this even worse. However, this is when I realised that if I have enough resources for one fly swatter trap, then I've pretty well got enough resources for 3 bone maker traps. The poor dude's never had much of a chance.
Oh, look at that. 2-1. When a plan comes together.
Next up was the gobstopper, then the long run all the way through the cave. I find this to be a real coin toss. Sometimes I make it through, no issues at all. Other times the locals murder the heck out of me. It's enough to keep you on your toes and a look of worry along your face. P.S. I do stream while working on my challenges, which is why you'll hear my voice occasionally. We finally made it through to the end and picked up the travel cannon. If I have one thing that I hate, it's how the player stops to look at special items that he's picked up. Like, come on, man, you're literally in the dark, in a cave, full of monsters. Get a move on! After a successful liberation of the travel cannon, the next logical step was the Shovel of Destiny. First step is a quick run home for some food and water, then we're back on the turtle-boosted flying machine up towards the next cave. This cave has a special place in my heart as particularly terrifying, as you have to turn around, meaning anything you don't kill on the way through gets another go at you on the way back. A quick run, a bit of a swim, that thing what feels like a Tomb Raider QuickTime event, a bit more running, some creative line dancing to get the laptop, the Shovel of Destiny, monsters, 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 gobstopper, babies, and we're done. That went better than I thought it would. Cool, so this is home. And onwards again with the challenge. I decided visiting the Puffdens was the next best plan. After the success with such a scary cave, obviously this was a good sign, and the rest was going to be easy. Oh god, did it even kill you? It just hurt your feelings. Oh man. That damn kid. Run in a circle, run in a circle. Run in a circle! Oh my god, hard mode's really hard. Come on, buddy. This bunker was its usual self, but I had to clear it out along the way because I needed to double back to get enough gear for the traps that I wanted. That was scary. Did they just break the light? Are they going to like stealth kill me? Playing the game on hard is hard enough. I was surprised how many times a trap had to hit to get a result, but in the end it all paid off when we cleared out the Puffdens in excellent fashion. We touched down outside Golden Armor Cave, gave a high five to our cultist homies and popped on in. This is one of the longer caves which has given me plenty of grief in the past, and I was surprised how well I was able to run the cave without getting stuck, lost or murdered. In light of the trans-dimensional spaceship thingy and the pieces of the golden question mark things,
I do want to point out that I'm completing this challenge in January of 2024 and version 1.0 hasn't come out yet. I'm sure there'll be more challenges once the story is finished. With the golden armor sorted, we went straight for the entertainment bunker. I initially thought about being the trapper keeper at the ground level pool, but the babies don't drown, and you're stuck in a dead end, and it turns into hard work, so we just ran through to the upstairs pool and bar. This spot was pretty crowded, and with a few close spaces, I wanted to loot, and decided to set up traps while trying to stay safe, jumping on the stepping stones. It had limited success, but we mostly cleared the room. Finally, we emerged from the bunker, climbed down the hill, and flew home. In celebration of our continued success, we upgraded our tent with more tents and some furniture. We slept through the night. We awoke to the freshly fallen snow of winter, geared up, and made our way to the penultimate bunker. Usually, this would be a monster-infested grind, but as we had no need for weapons or lore or to really collect anything, it was a remarkably easy run. And with everything we needed to make it to the final boss in hand, an immense preparation started. On the first day of winter began what the ancients would forever call the Great Stick Gathering, where we lined the beach with spinning traps, close enough together to easily lure the beast into them, far enough apart that I can reset them without getting squashed. With the base secured for the final boss, we went into the last bunker before Hell Cave to open the way. The strategy here would be to take 2 spinning traps with us so that we always have 1 spinning trap armed to fall back to whilst moving another. The struggle here was that you cannot move completed traps like you do with other blueprints, so we had to deconstruct them each time, and mistakes were made. Really? After everything we went through to get to this point, the speed running of the caves and the quick progress for the big items like Travel Cannon and the Shovel of Destiny, I can't begin to express how much of a grind this was. The initial setup meant I had to leave the bunker several times to get enough sticks to build 2 spinning traps. The demons like to wander much further than I thought they would when setting up a safe zone, and I even tried to have a stick holder as I was certain at some point sticks on the ground would despawn. They didn't, but I dropped enough down a cliff that I ended up only having just enough sticks to get by. To tell you the truth, After making it about a third of the way through the cave, I got fed up, and I just wanted to see how far the end of the cave was. This really was a challenge. The clue's in the name, but I didn't enjoy this part. I did remember from previous playthroughs the importance of keeping my stats up so that I could sprint for longer periods of time. I made a quick dash home for food and water, and of course that's when the neighbours decided to visit. The end of the cave was not so far, but as I wasn't stopping to clear out each area of demons with my traps, running backwards and forwards to get more sticks was a huge pain. I did have some success standing on a rock and letting them tear each other apart for a while though. Finally, I made it close enough to set up a tent to save, so I expected this was going to take a few tries. And I managed to clear out most of the local demons before picking on the big one. I thought I was getting closer to the end. I couldn't have been more wrong. With the spinning trap in place, it was time to kite the enemy without getting killed. Hassle it just enough to get it started in my direction, but make it back to my rock in time for it to disengage, turn around, and walk straight into my trap. I expected this to take a while. I expected it to take a number of hits to down the beast. I expected the traps to work. The spinning trap does not fire when the demon boss walks near. Considering when I'm doing a normal solo playthrough, I do spend most of my time hiding under it, so I can only imagine that its hitbox is too high. My frustration was through the roof at this point. Not wanting to give up on the challenge, I set up some Bone Maker traps. These did trigger when it walked over them, but it didn't appear to do any damage. There was no hit animation, and it certainly didn't catch fire. Don't worry, I said to myself, YouTube will still love this. We always have old reliable, we'll be fine. So I set about defeating arguably the most difficult enemy in all of Sons of the Forest with the most humble of traps available. It's the first trap almost everyone who plays this game will use. In their first playthroughs, it can achieve some of the most elaborate defenses ever seen. It catches your food, it dismembers your enemies, it defends you when you have nothing else all alone in a dangerous forest. It's a stick with a pointy end. But you can't make them in Hell Cave. The game doesn't let you, does it? In some respects, we have answered the question. Our journey was complete. We took the ring to Mordor, threw it in, only to have it tossed back out again, slapping us in the face on the way past. No, you can't beat Sons of the Forest using only traps. Not in January of 2024. Version 1.0 hasn't launched yet. Maybe never. I was so disheartened, but not defeated. If the game was going to break the rules and not let me build traps, well, breaking the rules has always been a two-player game. For those who don't know, when I stream, I often have mods turned on. This allows my viewers to interact with my game, messing up my controls, changing the day-night cycle, spawning items, and spawning enemies. In the mystical long ago of far away 2014, a game was released called The Forest. In this game, you could explore scary caves that had cannibals inside that would try and murder you. There were also monsters. The cannibals and the monsters all seemed to get along and didn't bother each other. But in Sons of the Forest, they do not get along. Not wanting to use any weapons, and still hold true, I used my mods to spawn a range of cannibals into the caves. The carnage was so great I thought the chaos gods of the Warhammer universe were about to descend. The gold-faced cannibals gleamed in the lava flows, and the painted cannibals glow in the dark, which I never knew. Every challenge you learn something. The screams and cries echoed through the underground, most dying without even the chance to raise a weapon. But eventually, the beast was brought low. The bodies piled high, the stench of death thick in the air. I moved through the end of the cave and the final story area. After which, you walk out of the cave onto the beach for the final boss. That weird person in the silver jumpsuit that we see a lot but don't really know what they do yet turns into the giant blob monster. I still had my trap set up and I was above ground. I didn't need weapons for this. This is my forest. I've done other challenges in the past on stream. The 100 Days of Winter challenge taught me how to really survive with almost no food. The Camping Only challenge taught me the best way to use the stick trap. This No Weapons challenge taught me how to fly using the turtle shell, and also how to run almost all the caves. What we learn from our challenges is that the goal of Sons of the Forest, including life, is not to get off your own island, or to fight the cannibals, or even destroy the monsters you might be facing, but to contend with your own nature in the harsh and unforgiving landscape of your own life, to become better. I'm Abacus Cadabricus. Thanks for watching.